While scanning the list of newly tariffed Canadian products today, did you notice that everything under the heading of the motor vehicles order is not about motor vehicles? A review of the items grouped beneath this title reveals an explicit disconnect between the heading and its contents. Instead of automotive assemblies or auto parts, the list spans natural honey, dormant flower bulbs, cosmetics, apparel, diamonds, power tools, vacuum cleaners, and floating docks. The only vehicle listed is motorcycles with engine capacities of 800 cc or greater. If you are currently rubbing your eyes in disbelief, rest assured you are not alone. This is not just a minor clerical hiccup or a victimless administrative glitch. It is an appalling display of regulatory laxity that should make anyone interested in sensible trade policy burn with frustration. How on earth does an official policy document end up so utterly decoupled from reality? The bureaucracy's favorite defense relies on the concept of structural legal containers. To slap duties on foreign goods, trade authorities first need a formal legal hook. In this case, an ongoing dispute over Canadian automotive rules gave them the statutory excuse to open an administrative bucket titled the Motor Vehicles Order. Here is where the logic completely flies off the rails. Because actual passenger cars, engine components, and heavy truck parts were already being squeezed under separate tariff rules, bureaucrats decided they didn't need to list actual cars under the car order. But rather than closing the file or naming it something remotely accurate, they kept the motor vehicles order wide open and used it as a dumping ground. While companion declarations like the dairy order focused on actual agriculture, this order became a bizarre catch-all bin for everything from luxury diamonds to vacuum cleaners and live orchids. What this really exposes is an astonishing, slapdash gem and fichism at the heart of modern trade regulation. When tariff packages are thrown together at breakneck speed to satisfy political press releases, meticulous classification gets thrown right out the window. Bureaucrats simply copy and paste hundreds of unrelated harmonized tariff schedule codes into whichever open file happens to be sitting on the desk. It is completely indefensible. Businesses, importers, and consumers are forced to navigate a labyrinth of international trade law, only to discover that the official rules read like surrealist comedy. When a regulatory body cannot even be bothered to label a multi-million-dollar tariff list accurately, it shows a profound disrespect for public transparency and economic order. The title of a government order ought to mean what it says, relying on administrative laziness and calling it procedural convenience is a terrible excuse for lawmaking. When floating docks, cosmetics, and flower bulbs are legally classified as motor vehicles. It is not just bad bookkeeping, it is a farce that favors slapdash speed over system integrity.